This week showed me that I have reached my next trading hurdle, and it is something that I must tackle if I want to succeed. I took 7 trades this week, and only 2 of them were green, which left me $11.86 in profit. This is terrible. This isn't too great, but this is really great. My main problem before was risk management. I have, by the numbers, gotten that in check now, because there would be no other way for me to just be losing and losing and losing and still have money and make money at the end of the week. Yes, I know it is not a lot of money, but nonetheless, with all those losses, I still ended the week with more money than I started with. So risk management, check. I then was having the issue of hesitating. I was like frozen in fear to enter. This went on for a couple weeks, months, and it would be like days without me taking a trade, where I would just watch everything go without me. I still do this a little bit sometimes, but it's more so me like finding a reason why it doesn't look good rather than like not entering just because I was afraid to enter. And I think this has gotten so much better. Like, as you can see, I'm taking trades almost every single day, which again, I don't need to be doing, but it's not that lack of like being afraid to take a trade anymore. I would say that one's like 90% in check. Now is the issue with almost over trading, not in the sense of taking too many trades like numbers wise, but taking trades that are not my trade setups, not trades that I should be taking them, for whatever reason, but I just don't need to be taking them. There's 2 trades this week already that I could have just completely avoided. There was more trades that I should have avoided, but like 2 were not my strategy at all, almost the complete opposite, and that would have saved me $62. Not only that, but if I did take my setup the same day instead of taking the setup that I should not have taken, that was against my setup, I actually would have made more money. I am still sitting negative $43 on the month, but when you look at this horrendous freaking calendar, that ain't too bad, you know? Looking at my month of trades as well, I have not been able to get like a consistent stream of wins. This was I had 2 here, and then I had 6 back-to-back losses. 3 here, and then 4 back-to-back losses. 1 win, and then 5 back-to-back losses. All of these in a row aren't because they were A-quality setups. Most of them are because they're freaking littered with mistakes. So today I want to go over my 2 good trades. Oh look, we started the week with a good trade and we ended the week with a good trade. And then I also want to touch on the 2 that I like completely should have avoided. First trade was a long for net 73. It's a 75 close, but then commissions and stuff. A 2.47R trade. I was in this trade for 1021 entry to 20, like 3 minutes and change. So solid. If we are looking at this trade, the 5-minute was flat. So that is fine. I could go any direction with that. Boom. Right when this 5-minute took out this green is when I went in. My entries were 5-minute break and retest, 15-minute break and retest, 200 moving average balance, and inverted head and shoulders. The one mistake was that it was in the wrong position on the 2-minute, but because there was other confluences, I went with it. So as you can see, it was green taking out red on the 5-minute right there. Break, retest, boom. On the 15-minute, it was the same thing. Break, retest, took it out. On the 1-minute is where I saw the inverted head and shoulders. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. As soon as it crossed back over, boom, entered there. Caught it right before that huge bar. I'm pretty sure I also had a like little trend line drawn right here, which gave me a little bit more like want to enter the trade. Because as soon as I saw that break, retest, and hold, that was kind of like another inclination to buy. So on the 2-minute, as you can see, it was in the wrong position. It was below it. But with the other confluences, I decided to give it a shot. Going to my last win for the week. This one was, again, spot on. I had to wait for it, though. And I had to really, because at this point on Friday, I had already realized that I'm taking trades that I should not be taking. And I had to really like stop myself from entering stuff that I shouldn't have been entering. So I watched this entire move happen, right? And I just sat there and didn't do anything, not pissed off, but just frustrated that I had a bias of a short. So it caused me to not want to take longs. And as you can see here, I missed this long right here, which would have been the 5-minute break retest into this beautiful gap. And it's not like It would be one thing if I didn't see them, but I saw the trade. I even called it out in like my daily recap. As I was doing it, I was like, oh, I didn't take this because I have a short bias. Of course it works. But that was boom, break and retest 5 minute in a fair value gap. Look, 2 minute, break and retest, 2 minute, and where is it? Break, the 1 minute, it actually would have been an entry over here when it popped back over there and it inversed all this. So all of those, like, wait, is this the right trade? Yeah. And then I could have gone to a 2R. I know that there was a level here, I think it was pre-market high or something, right, or a weekly high right here, so I also didn't want to take it. But I just need to take the trade. Like, this is what the setup that I have, you know, around a 50-ish% win rate with. So if I'm doing that while I'm managing my risk, like, that is going to be very profitable. At least I feel like it will be. Anyway, so that's the trade I missed in the day, showing that my setup did present itself, and I could have gotten that one trade. And then this is the one that I took. So after all of this, I waited and waited and waited, and then finally, when the 5 minute, I saw this here, but it was still trending. If you look at the 20, it was still trending up, which is why I did not want to take it. So I waited, and then we got that retest rejection on that curling down. Boom, that's when I entered the trade. So I entered short, it was probably a little higher than that, and my stop wasn't as high as I would have wanted, but I think we got out around here. This trade I was in a little bit longer, 43, like 18 minutes or something like that. 1 minute, 2 minute, 5 minute break and retest with a fair value gap. The issues were that my stop was too tight. I would have, you know, I should have had it like up above this swing here, and when it populated at 30, it was like right around here. I ended up leaving it, but I need to work on being okay making that risk where it's supposed to be, not where I just am comfortable with it in terms of the monetary amount. So that was an issue, and then this was the weekly high. So I knew that I was going into a potential reversal area, but so why would I take it here, but then I was afraid to take it here, right? So this is the same thing going into the weekly high, and this is going into the weekly high, the opposite direction. So I just need to take it when it's there. So yeah, the 5 minute break and retest when it started curling. 2 minute, okay, so I probably entered on this, yep, on that bar right there. So 2 minute, it popped up, it took this out, like a little sweepy sweep there, and then on this big bar down, when it took all that out, that's when I entered. So 2 minute, trending down, break and retest. It was on the bar, so I consider that still like fine. And then the 1 minute, same thing, was trending down. And we also inverse this little gap right here. That's probably when I entered. When that close happened, boom, entered. Look, you could have still gotten the trade here though, even if you waited for another break and retest, boom, could have gotten it there. And my target for that trade was this swing right here. We got it. I did leave a couple bucks on the table, but it's fine. I was really happy with my patience for that trade and just being able to execute when the time came after I waited and waited and waited. So now let me show you two losses like completely just did not need to happen. This one right here. So this was a $37 loss for a long, literally the wrong position on all of my moving averages. Why? Why did I take this? Yes, there was other confluences, but it was still the wrong position on all my moving averages. I have found when I was back testing the break and retest of the pre-market high, usually when it works, it is working along with this setup. So if I shouldn't trust it just by itself, me personally. Taking along, yes, the 5 minute was extended, but still under here. 2 minute, literally trending down. Why am I taking along over here in a downtrend, trying to catch, you know, the reversal back to it? But that was clearly, when I took it, a downtrending 2 minute. 1 minute, also clearly downtrending. I'm pretty sure this was actually the trade that I said that was based off of my trading plan, so that's why I took it. But yeah, my trading plan said something, but the signal wasn't there, like the proper signal. It was just not a good trade. It was something that should have been avoided. And then look, if you look over here, what would have been a trade? 1 minute taking out over here. 2 minute break retest. green taking out red, boom. Look, 5-minute break and retest, bounce off the 200. Could have gotten my trade right there at 9:45 in the morning. So once again, my setup was present on this day, but instead of that, I took 3 losses. And then on Thursday, I took 2 L's, 1 bad, 1 good. So this was another one that I just should not have taken. It was a short 25.02 loss. And look at this. Look at this laundry list of mistakes over here. Wrong position on the 5. I didn't wait for a retest. It was just a bad trade. I was impatient and it was against the 5-minute trend. I mean, look at the 5-minute. Why am I taking a short here? That is not far enough where it's like something like this, where 5-minute is extended. It's pretty close to the moving average. And I'm shorting against, look, it was very much uptrending right there. Once again, where I entered, it was still trending up. Not trending down, not curling down, nothing. I didn't want to miss it, so I tried to jump in. Well, guess what? I didn't miss it. I got stopped out instead. Had this candle over here then started going down, then, or actually probably this one, then we would have started curling, and then, you know, it would have been an okay trade. Okay, so 2-minute, no good. It was under on the 1-minute, but it didn't even like pop into this gap and reject. I guess you probably would have gotten faked out on this candle if you didn't wait for a close. But it was just literally, it was just not a good trade. Now, the second trade I took this day, I would classify as a good loss. It was my setup. It just didn't, it did give us some, like maybe like a 1-to-1, a little bit less, but it just didn't, you know, work out all the way. So this was a long, I ended up taking a $13 loss. I was in this trade for almost an hour and a half, and it was honestly something that was just like, all right, I'm ready to get out of this freaking trade. Like either go or just stop me out already. So it was a break and retest on the 1-minute, 2-minute, 5-minute, and the break and retest of the pre-market high. The only thing I could have just closed, I again said this in my daily review where I was like, I want to close up here, but I didn't because I'm trying to make myself kind of hold at least 1 to 2. So we had the 1-minute push. We had the 2-minute break and retest taking out. I actually entered a little late. I don't know what I was waiting for up here, but yeah, break and retest 2-minute. And the 5, oh, I probably entered here waiting for this bar to get taken out. But look, 5-minute trending up, we go with the 5-minute trend. Boom, easy as can be. I got some, ultimately got stopped out. This was a good trade. It was a good loss, and I'm fine with this all day long. Whenever I look back at all of my good trades, most of the time they're going with the 5-minute trend. Yes, there's a couple here and there that are not, but I have a much higher probability of my trade working when it's going with the 5-minute, at least in the trades that I take and my data. Another big thing that I noticed is that I feel a lot calmer when I am in a trade that matches my entry criteria. When I'm in a trade that I like know is so-so and I probably could have avoided, I am much more anxious and I am aware that I need to like calm myself down in the middle of that trade. When I am in a good one, I like feel my heart increase a little bit, but it goes away pretty quick, and then I'm kind of just like calm in it. That is also interesting to realize because clearly that's, you know, something going on there with the adrenaline and not what I want. I have my marching orders for next week. If I just cut out what I shouldn't be taking, my profits would be much higher. Like even if I didn't take any other trades, but those 2 that, you know, that I took that were really good and maybe the 1 loss, right? I would be like up over $100 for the week. And if I took the 2 that I should have taken, but that I avoided, right? Because I showed you guys those 2 on the losing days that my setup did show up, right? That's 4 trades, right? So that would have been 75, that would have been 300 minus the 1 that I lost. I still would have been like up over $200 on the week. So all I have to do is take my setup and not my setups. Like it's that easy. I am going to continue drilling that into my head next week, and hopefully I can continue to eliminate those unnecessary losses. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Later.